as I looked back over the landscape of what was working, who was getting results, how were people being brought together. There was no better example than the Clinton Foundation.
Mostly, we just worry about how to solve problems. How can we do something faster, cheaper, better? Getting other people involved, building networks of change through the Clinton Global Initiative.
The Clinton Foundation, the Clinton family, you teach us the University of Life, the University of Compassion, and the University of Getting Things Done. My family emigrated from India to East Africa, Uganda and Kenya some 4 generations ago. We prospered there when the British, under colonial rule, were building the railways. My family became traders, and we were very, very wealthy. We built schools, which were the first multi-denominational schools in East Africa, because the best schools were for whites only. We built sports grounds, and these are the best institutions in East Africa today. This all ended in 1972 when President Idi Amin expelled my family and many Ugandan Asians from East Africa. So the first thanks I really want to say, as we celebrate or as we commemorate 40 years of that expulsion, through the Deputy Prime Minister, if I can, Nick, to thank the British people for the hospitality and the warmth and the reception they gave to my family and the East African Asians, to give us our dignity back, starting from nothing, to give us prosperity and enable us to live in this country. So it's a really great privilege to be hosting an event like this coming from East Africa.
I'm very pleased to be working in support of the ongoing programs and then bringing a few additional points of emphasis, in particular on early childhood education and nurturing. We're seeing further and further gaps in educational preparedness, and then also rethinking how we're going to create employment with rising standards for so many of the young people. There is a stagnation that we're going to have to figure out how to stimulate.
I do want to thank Rumi and the whole family. Ever since you got that peerage, I've not known how I'm supposed to behave. Am I supposed to genuflect? Is there a ring I'm supposed to kiss? I'm very proud of you, and I think you deserve it, and congratulations. It's wonderful for me to have Chelsea and now Hillary involved in the foundation. One of the things that has not been mentioned that they both have worked on is an attempt to stop the killing of elephants and the trafficking in ivory. A significant amount of the violence in Africa is funded by the sales of illegal ivory. This is a little bit unusual for us to be involved in an advocacy campaign, but I think when we can make a difference by getting more people involved to actually make a change, we should. So I am very proud of Hillary and Chelsea for taking this on and publicizing it. We actually can make a difference.
When we as a family decided we wanted to give back to Uganda, you took me to Uganda and invited me on a trip. And you introduced us to an amazing entrepreneur called George Sroor. George runs an organization called Building Tomorrow, which is building schools in very, very remote parts of Uganda. These children would not have any education if it wasn't for Building Tomorrow and the support they get from the Clinton Foundation. He built schools for 300 students for $50,000 to $60,000 a school. It's quite extraordinary what he achieves. He's already built 14 schools and has a program to build 20 more. So these are the types of programs that you initiate, and you put together social entrepreneurs together with people who want to give back to their societies.
In Rwanda, we are organizing a project to train the entire medical and healthcare staffing corps of the country so that they will be able to have a sustainable health system taking no foreign assistance by 2020. Our foundation has now secured 10 American medical schools, 6 nursing schools, and 3 health management schools, committed to work for years to retrain the Rwandan healthcare workforce so that it will work without aid for total overheads of 7%. These 19 schools are losing money because they think it is so important for us to build a 21st century model of aid that is efficient and fair and focused on the countries and the people they're trying to help.
In the last trip, We visited many projects, Mr. President, but two really stood out to me. One was in South Africa, in Port Elizabeth. It was a project called Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a KwaZulu word meaning I am because you are. And this is, again, an incredible entrepreneur who's building in a very deprived area a sort of community health center and an education center for children who basically have been born to parents with HIV. It's a very deprived area, and he's just doing incredible work. The other place you took us to was Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a very small Muslim community. And some 15 years ago, I think, Mr. President, you went out there and put together a group of people called ZAFA. And these were women who had contracted HIV/AIDS. And you gave them dignity, you gave them leadership, and you gave them a sense of purpose. And you then visited this project 15 years later, and they were proud to introduce you to their children. Most of them, because of the work you did, had been born HIV-free.
I want to add my thanks, starting with Rumi and the Burji family for hosting us in this extraordinary setting. It is a great delight for me to hear what you're saying about the importance of the Foundation's work. As Rumi said, you know, what happens in South Africa or in Zanzibar can have a direct and certainly an indirect impact on what happens to us in London or New York or anywhere else. Thank you for believing in what we're doing and supporting this work. At a time of a lot of uncertainty and concern in the world about what direction people will be headed, it's good to remind ourselves that we are all in this together.
There is no such thing in my mind as somebody who is just a donor to this foundation. I want all of you to feel like you're our partners and that we're in a process of constant growth and learning. And our constant goal should be to work ourselves out of a job wherever we are. The mission is to keep getting better, and we need you to do that.